Hi guys, it's Ben here from T-Rex Space Station. How's everyone doing? So I finally managed to get my Atari 2600 across from my parents' garage, and I've been really looking forward to getting stuck in and playing on the system and getting some of that old nostalgia back. Unfortunately, we lost the original Atari plug quite a while back, and we were using one of those one of those kind of standard multi-voltage converter plugs. And that always worked fine, but we managed to lose that as well. So although I got the system across, I didn't have any power supply for it. So I went onto eBay and I managed to pick up one of these multi-voltage converters, and it was one that had pretty good ratings. I think it was 4 out of 5. People said it was alright. I plugged it into my system, set it to 9 volts, and then I was searching on the TV trying to tune the thing in, and I got a strange sizzling noise and then a pop. And I was like, shit, did I just stand on something? I was like, no, I don't think I did. And then I started to smell burning coming from the bloody Atari console. So, kind of gutted because I just got the thing across, I've got all my games here, and I've managed to fry it, and I think I've basically broken it beyond repair. I don't know if the ampage on the multi-voltage converter was wrong, or whether it's just that the system's so old that something inside has corroded and it's just given up. But I'm pretty gutted about that. But anyway, putting that aside, I will manage to get a replacement one, and I can still show you guys my collection. The Atari was actually still boxed, so I've got the box here, as you can see. It's a pretty cool thing. Here we got the Super System, more games, more fun. And what does it say on it? It says Atari brings a powerful computer to your home TV. The system allows you to build a game library with additional game programs and controllers. And this carton contains Combat, which contains 27 action-packed game variations and 2 sets of remote controllers. It is quite a cool set, really, because you get 2 paddles and 2 joysticks, and I really love the original Atari 2600 joysticks. I know certain people have complained about them not feeling great, but I really like them. They're very nostalgic and pretty responsive and very simple. You know, who needs 2 buttons when you've just got 1 for fire? That's simplistic gameplay at its best, isn't it? So I've got my games here in no particular order, just in a big pile, and I'll just show them to you. And of course, as usual, I will do a little bit of a mini review, I suppose, or what I remember about the games, what I liked about them. So what better place to start than Pac-Man, original Pac-Man. This is a really classic game, isn't it? One that's led on to so many different versions and developments and ports of the original game. I'm not a massive fan of Pac-Man, I must say. I find it quite a stressful game to play. I think it's being chased around by the ghosts that just... There's something about it that I don't really like. I find it quite a stressful endeavour. I don't want to get caught by ghosts. But it is a very, very classic game and quite simplistic fun. I must say, it's not one that I spent that much time with. I did dabble when I was a kid, but no, I didn't really do it for me. Now, next up we have Mario Bros. Now, who knew that Mario started on the Atari 2600? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first Mario game. And not many people have played this, I don't think, but it's quite a cool game. I don't know how to describe it. It's a sort of platformer, isn't it? You've got different flies and crabs and things that kind of crawl along the ground. You've got to jump over them and collect coins, I think. And it's devilishly hard from what I recall. Not a fantastic game, but pretty interesting to see Mario and Luigi at their early roots. I think you actually had to collect wafers rather than coins, actually, which is pretty odd. Maybe that's why Mario got so fat, eating all those weird wafers. Next up is a really fun game. This is Popeye, and oh god, I could hum the music to this all day long. It's got that music that just sticks in your head and repeats over and over again. It's a pretty simplistic but quite challenging game in which you've got to bounce on trampolines and basically rescue Olive, I think. And he's there winking and chugging down spinach on the front. So yeah, it's quite a hard game from what I remember. I think you've got to avoid, what's he called, Bluto? That's the bad guy, isn't he? You've got to avoid him from catching you and beating you up. Next up, Q*bert. I can remember getting this for my birthday when I was a child, back in the day of model trains. I think I got a new train and this. And this is a game that's very, very hard and very frustrating, and I don't really like it that much. It's bloody difficult. You kind of got to jump around on an isometric grid of squares and avoid lots of nasties. And Essentially, you beat the levels by jumping on all the squares, then you go back to the top. It's bloody hard. It's quite a cool game. I think it had a NES version as well, and maybe some other systems, but I know there are definitely versions on the NES and the Atari. Next up, River Raid. This is a classic and one of my favourite 2600 games. It's a shmup, isn't it? One of the early shmups. I think you can't beat it. I think it's just on a loop, but it's really cool and very addictive. And it has some interesting features. You know, you can choose to collect the fuel if you think you're running low, or you can shoot the fuel for points. And it's very simplistic gameplay, but quite challenging as well. There are planes flying across, there are boats, there are helicopters, there are bridges to shoot down. And as I said, you've got to sort out your fuel as well. A really innovative game for its time, I think, and one that's still really addictive and fun and challenging to play now. Sticking with games that I love, then, this is Galaxian, the first in the Galaxian or Galaga series, and this was kind of the answer to Space Invaders. It's a Space Invaders clone, really, but in my opinion, it is actually better. It does improve on the original Space Invaders game. What's so good about it? Well, the flight patterns were more varied. You know, the enemies kind of instead of doing that Space Invaders thing, they fly down, a little bit more interesting. They break off in packs, and it's just, yes, to me, slightly better than Space Invaders because of the variety of gameplay. Really, really addictive. Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle. You may have seen my gameplay video of this. It's a pretty shit game. There were quite a few Star Wars games on the system. This one, you basically have to try and shoot at the Death Star. You've got to go through a little narrow portal and shoot up to space and basically take out the Death Star by firing at its core and avoiding lots of ships that try and shoot at you. It's not great, I've got to be honest. Another absolute classic, Defender. Isn't it amazing how prevalent the influence of this game has been with modern shooters? You know, this is such an early game, but it was absolutely superb. How would I describe it? It's a side-scrolling shooter, isn't it? When you're on kind of a continuous loop, and you just got to shoot the hell out of the different ships and things. But you know, Resogun on the PS4 is really just a modern version of Defender. So you know, we've come to the modern generation, and we still have games that look like Defender, that play like Defender, or that build on the ideas in it. So it's a superb game, and one that's so very influential. Tutankhamun by the Parker Brothers. I've done a gameplay of this recently. Well, not recently, actually, it was months ago. Quite a fun game. You've got to kind of collect a key and open strange doors and pick up treasure and avoid scorpions and all sorts of nasties. It's pretty hard and graphically not that much fun to look at, I've got to be honest. Here's another classic. What a cool cover this one has. Missile Command. And you've got a guy here in a space base firing rockets all over the place. You know, this is a very classic game. Excuse me, little burp there. And one that has had lots of other ports and developments as well, I think. Essentially, you've got a city, missiles coming down, or spaceships or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Bombs, is it? And you've got to fire up your missiles to defend the city and things and stop you from getting blown up. It's quite fun. It's quite basic, but it's pretty addictive and very challenging. Space Invaders, need I say more? I mean, this is just such a massive game, such a classic game that's really influenced so many offshoots and different versions and developments, and still very fun to play today. As I've said, I do personally prefer Galaxian, but this is still a classic. Star Raiders, I've no idea what this is. I have a feeling I picked this up a few years ago. I saw it in a charity shop and I couldn't play it because I think it needs a new controller. Usually the joystick controller and video touchpad. So yes, I can't tell you what this is about because I don't remember ever actually managing to play it. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. And here we have Combat, which ships with the system. This is actually a very cool game. Player versus player combat. I mean, can you get better than that on a 2600? I really like this. I used to have a lot of fun playing, you know, as tanks or ships or planes, shooting the shit out of each other. Me and my brother used to play this loads and just fire at each other and have a lot of fun. Maybe it won't hold up so much to the modern multiplayer games, but I always really enjoyed it. And last but not least, Sequest, which I just picked up this week, hoping to play it, and before I fried the flipping system. You may have seen that Interghost Retro Records have got a good competition on high scores on this. There's a few very good scores. I think Lactobacillus Prime has played it, and Tony has played it from Electric Adventures. And I thought this looked like a really great game. Again, it's a sort of side-scrolling shooter, I suppose, or one with a fixed screen though, and you basically have to rescue sea divers and bring them to the surface and make sure you stay oxygenated while shooting other little submarines and avoiding fish and things. And it's really great. I've been playing loads of it on an emulator, and it's just superb. I'm really impressed with it. I mean, it's a shame that I'd never heard of it before, because I wish that I'd been a bit more experienced at it. And I've been working on a bit of a high score of my own, so maybe you'll see me submitting soon. But that's it, that's my Atari collection. It's a real shame that I can't play it. I'm looking on eBay at trying to find a cheap console to replace this one. One complete with a power pack, because I don't want to faff around and fry any more consoles with dodgy stuff. If you know anyone that's selling an Atari, or if you're selling one yourself, get in touch with me. I'd love to buy it off you. Okay, take care guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.